Do you like monster trucks? Do you like big old trucks that snack on itty-bitty cars? Smash on them, crunch them? Then you're in luck. The NES has two monster truck games. Games. You know how they do that thing? Bigfoot and Monster Truck Rally. Yes, I was as disappointed as you were in the early 90s when I rented Bigfoot only to find out it was about a truck and not a blurry woodland cryptid covered in fur. I was disappointed for other reasons too, but we'll get to those later. If you're out of the loop, Bigfoot is the name of a monster truck. Other monster trucks you might know by name are Gravedigger, Monster Mutt, and El Toro Loco. I wasn't much into monster trucks growing up. I didn't really get the point. And I still kinda don't. But I guess they are kinda cool. They race, they pull tractors, and they churn through mud. What's not to love? Would the NES have what it takes to get these larger-than-life vehicles into your living room? Well, let's see what's up. For starters, Bigfoot graces you with music that is decidedly more carnival sideshow than high-octane monster trucking. But it then gets more on brand by showing a couple of bikini-clad ladies leaning up against the filthy tires on these two imposing mud hogs. Now this is monster trucking. The game takes you from city to city on the way from LA to New York. Each city stop has its own event, a few of which repeat as you make your way cross country. You stop in Mesa, Arizona, Pueblo, Colorado, Tulsa, Oklahoma, you know, all the big bastions of monster trucking here in the United States of A. Now, if you think monster trucking is all about smashing cars as a big scary truck, well, you'd be completely wrong if you went by this game. Here in Bigfoot, it's mostly about racing and button mashing. You smash a few cars here and there, sure, but most of the game is centered on racing and wondering why you can never change gears at the right time. The first event is a top-down race, and it's worth noting that both vehicles remain on the screen at the same time throughout, even when you're racing the computer. This means you can't leave them in the dust. They will be dragged along by the bottom of the screen. Rubber banding. These top-down racing segments are different from the others in the game. When racing, your main goal is to collect cash and accrue more points than your opponent, and then finish first for bonus points. You don't have to finish first, it helps, but you do need cash. You can pick up a saw blade to inflict damage on the other truck, or a shield to protect yourself from the same fate. Health is shown at the bottom, but even if you do wipe out the other guy, they respawn too quickly for it to matter. And you can win every time if you're crafty. Since you can never get too far behind, just wait until you see paved road appear, which signifies the end is nigh, then hammer your turbo boost to get yourself across the finish line first. Easy peasy. What's less easy is the rest of the game. The other events are presented from a side view, with player 1 on top, 2 on the bottom. In the Car Crush event, yes, we're finally crushing tiny cars, you need big tires and good suspension. More than that though, you need really strong thumbs and a knack for knowing when to change gears. That's true for all these side view events. To make the truck move, you have to alternate right and left on the D-pad. The manual even shows that you should hold it like this. And that's weird. But worse, you change gears with the A button, so unless you have 3 hands, or a bored but friendly neighbor to pitch in, good luck. I held the controller upside down, used my middle and index finger to tap on the D-pad, and my other hand to change the gears. I don't know if that's a good way to do it because I hardly won any events, but I do still have most of the skin on my thumb, so that's good. Before each new event, you get to use your cash to outfit your truck. It's not hard to get enough cash to maximize your abilities, but they do degrade over time, so that's neat. Other events include the Car Crush, a mud race, a hill climb that is the worst for needing to change gears, a tractor pull, which is Button Mash City, and drag races. These events are samey, and some are more annoying than others, plus the computer is a relentless opponent. If you don't earn enough cash, you'll eventually not be able to pay your way into the next event, resulting in a game over. If you stick through to the end, it's a matter of point tally. Doesn't matter if you finished first a lot, it only matters if you accrued points while doing so. In all, Bigfoot just gets stale quick. The car combat racing should be more fun than it is, and the gear shifting in the other events is tough to get the hang of, and, overall, unfriendly to beginners. Then there's Monster Truck Rally, which uses an isometric view throughout and has much more interesting music than its Bigfoot counterpart. Up to 4 players can compete in what once again amounts to off-road racing. It's not too far removed from something like the super off-road games. Even the trucks themselves just look like trucks. There's nothing monster about them. There are a few glaring issues with this one. The primary one is that the dang races in this game are too long. Long. They may only be a handful of laps, but the laps themselves can take up to 4 minutes or more to complete, especially if you're bad like me and spin out a lot. Also, the isometric view makes certain angles of hill climbing look all discombobulating and weird. This one is also picky about gear shifting. Your trucks have up to 3 gears, and you'll need to shift between them depending on whether you're going uphill or on a straightaway or what have you. It's not as annoying as it is in Bigfoot and can work to your advantage if you become adept with it, but it is something to think about. If you play a 2-player race, both trucks have to be on screen at the same time, much like Bigfoot, except here, the edge of the screen launches the lagging trucks forward. You can actually play the 2-player mode as a single player, not even plug in the second controller, and potentially still lose due to the bouncing physics and the rubber banding. It's not well done. There are other events than racing, like tug of war for example, and it kinda sucks. You just swim side to side like a fish and hope for the best, I guess. Eventually the rope will break, or you'll be dragged past the opponent's finish line and lose. There's probably a third option where you win, but honestly I can't confirm it. The neatest thing about this one though is the track builder. You can map out your own track with steep climbs and turns and straightaways and cars to smash. Your custom track will even end up as part of the game's campaign. Now the campaign has 8 different events. There's the hill climb, a drag race, a bog race and some slow mud, a car crush race where you crush the little cars, the dreaded tug of war, a sled pull, which is actually pretty simple, one called drawbridge, which has these ramps that raise and lower and will irritate you beyond belief when you barrel into one, donuts, where you just drive in a circle for a while, then your custom track, and then finally a combination of a few of the events in one single race. Winning the races in this game can be tough. If you fall behind even a little, catching back up can be grueling, and the computer makes very few mistakes. The good news is that there's not a ton of button mashing, so you don't need to worry about holding the controller upside down and inviting your neighbor over to shift for you. Now, I typically enjoy isometric racing games, and even as I look at the footage of this one, it looks more fun than it is. Really, it's aggravating, repetitive, kinda boring. The custom track feature is neat, and the fact that you can play with up to 4 people is cool, but single-screen multiplayer racing with tracks like this makes no sense, and it just doesn't work well. Well, I think that's going to do it for monster truck games on the NES. Neither of these are noteworthy, and the experiences they provide are better done in other games, like Super Off-Road for example. Now as always, reach out to your neighbor, see if they'll come help you shift gears, and thanks for watching.